What happens when two people return to a small house filled with memories, choosing quiet moments, growing vegetables, and caring for a stray dog instead of reopening old wounds? Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, we're going to explore a gentle journey of healing as James and Diep return to their small home, planting a garden, cooking together, and slowly rebuilding trust through the simplest moments. If you enjoy this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. James drove slowly along the familiar road, a narrow path leading back to the small house, appearing just as it always had, quiet and slightly hidden by rows of trees. Diep sat beside him, looking out the window, her gaze fixed on the passing scenery. Neither of them spoke much. The silence wasn't uncomfortable, but it wasn't easy either. It was the kind of silence that carried unfinished thoughts, things both of them felt but didn't yet know how to say. When the house finally came into view, Diep's heart tightened. The small gate, the old roof, the faded walls, everything looked the same, yet everything felt different. She opened the car door first and stepped inside the yard. James followed a few steps behind, instinctively slowing down, as if afraid to disturb her emotions. Diep pushed the door open and walked into the house. The familiar smell of wood and sunlight hit her all at once. She stood still for a moment, letting her eyes wander across the room. The table was still there, the shelf by the window, the small corner where she used to sit and read. Her fingers brushed lightly over the edge of the table, and memories rushed back. Quiet mornings, simple meals, laughter that once felt effortless. James stayed near the doorway, watching her quietly. He didn't ask if she was okay. He didn't rush to explain anything. Instead, he moved to the windows and opened them one by one, letting fresh air and warm sunlight pour into the house. Dust danced in the light, and the space slowly came alive again. That evening passed calmly. They cleaned a little, unpacked a few things, and spoke only when necessary. Diep noticed the way James paid attention to small details, placing things gently, avoiding her personal space, never pushing for conversation. She appreciated it more than she wanted to admit. The next morning, sunlight filtered through the curtains earlier than expected. Diep woke up to the sound of birds outside. For a moment, she forgot everything that had happened and felt strangely at peace. When she stepped outside, she saw James standing in the backyard, looking at the small patch of land behind the house. "I was thinking," he said carefully when he noticed her, "maybe we could plant some vegetables here again." Diep hesitated. The garden used to mean so much to her. It was where she felt calm, where she poured her care and patience into something living. Bringing it back felt both comforting and risky. After a brief pause, she nodded. They worked side by side, preparing the soil, pulling out old weeds and loosening the ground. James took care of the heavier work while Diep focused on planting seeds. Their conversation was simple, talking about which vegetables would grow best, how much sunlight the area received, whether it might rain later. Nothing personal, nothing emotional, yet something warm slowly filled the space between them. As they worked, a small dog appeared near the fence. It was thin, a little dirty, and clearly used to wandering alone. The dog approached cautiously, tail low, eyes curious. Diep noticed it first and crouched down, holding out her hand. The dog sniffed her fingers, then gently wagged its tail. James watched quietly as Diep smiled, a soft, genuine smile he hadn't seen in a long time. "Looks like it chose you," he said. Diep laughed lightly but didn't respond. She continued petting the dog, her expression gentle. After a moment, James spoke again, his voice calm and careful. "Maybe we could keep it, if you want." She didn't answer right away. Instead, she stood up, brushing dirt from her hands, and glanced at the house. The dog stayed close to her legs. Her silence wasn't rejection, it was thoughtfulness. By late morning, they sat on the steps near the garden, tired but satisfied. Their hands were dirty, their clothes slightly messy, and the dog lay between them, already looking comfortable. Neither James nor Diep mentioned the past. They didn't talk about promises or expectations, but both felt something subtle shift. Not a dramatic change, but a quiet sense that this place still held room for them. Inside the house, Diep prepared lunch using simple ingredients. James offered to help and she let him. They moved around the kitchen carefully at first, unsure of each other's rhythm, then gradually falling into a familiar flow. He washed vegetables while she cut them. Sometimes their hands brushed briefly, and both would pause, then continue without comment. The meal wasn't elaborate, but it tasted warm and comforting. They ate slowly, listening to the sounds outside. The wind, distant voices, the dog's occasional movement. Diep realised she wasn't tense anymore. She wasn't fully relaxed either, but she felt safe enough to breathe normally. That afternoon passed quietly. James fixed a loose hinge on the door while Diep cleaned the shelves. The dog followed them everywhere, as if afraid they might disappear. When evening came, the house felt fuller, more alive than it had in a long time. As night settled in, Diep stepped outside and looked at the garden again. The seeds were hidden beneath the soil, invisible for now, but full of potential. James stood beside her, keeping a respectful distance. "I don't expect anything," he said softly. "I just want to take care of what's here. Slowly." Diep didn't reply. She didn't need to. She simply stayed there, looking at the darkened yard, feeling something fragile but real begin to grow, just like the garden they planted together. Morning arrived quietly, wrapped in a soft mist that hovered over the garden. Diep woke up before the sun fully rose, listening to the gentle sounds of the house settling. For a few seconds she stayed still, unsure where she was, then everything came back to her. The return, the garden, the dog, James. Her chest tightened slightly, but it wasn't pain. It was something closer to caution mixed with familiarity. She stepped outside and found James already awake. He was kneeling near the garden, checking the soil, careful not to disturb the newly planted seeds. The dog sat beside him, tail wagging slowly as if it understood the importance of the moment. James looked up when he heard Diep's footsteps and offered a small smile, one that didn't ask for anything in return. "Good morning," he said softly. Diep nodded and stood beside him. The air was cool, carrying the smell of damp earth. For a while, neither of them spoke. They simply watched the light change, the mist slowly lifting as the sun climbed higher. Diep realised that this kind of quiet no longer felt empty. It felt earned. Later that morning, they decided to go to the local market together. It wasn't planned, just a natural decision that happened without discussion. Diep reached for her bag, and James grabbed the keys. The dog barked excitedly, and Diep laughed despite herself. "I guess we're really keeping it now," she said. James paused, surprised, then smiled wider. "Looks like it." They walked through the market side by side, keeping a comfortable distance. James let Diep choose the vegetables, the spices, the ingredients for dinner. He followed her lead, carrying the bags, offering opinions only when asked. Vendors greeted them warmly, some recognising Diep, some glancing curiously at James. Diep noticed how James stayed attentive without hovering, present without being intrusive. Back at the house, the afternoon unfolded slowly. Diep washed the vegetables while James prepared the cooking space. The dog settled near the doorway, watching everything with serious eyes. Cooking together felt different this time. There was no rush, no unspoken expectations, just simple tasks shared in the same space. As the food simmered, Diep found herself talking more. Not about the past, not about what hurt, but about small things. A recipe she wanted to try, a neighbour she remembered, the way the house felt quieter at night. James listened carefully, responding without interrupting, without trying to steer the conversation. When they finally sat down to eat, the room felt warm in a way Diep hadn't felt in a long time. The meal was simple but comforting. Steam rose from the bowls, carrying familiar scents. The dog lay near their feet, occasionally lifting its head as if checking that everything was still okay. "This tastes really good," James said. Diep smiled faintly. "It always tastes better when you don't rush." He nodded, understanding more than the word suggested. After dinner, they cleaned up together. James washed the dishes while Diep dried them. Their movements were natural now, no longer careful or hesitant. At one point, Diep reached for a plate at the same time James did. Their hands touched just briefly. She froze, then slowly pulled away. James didn't chase the moment. He simply continued washing, giving her space to breathe. As the sky darkened, they took chairs outside and sat on the porch. The dog curled up between them, already completely at home. Crickets filled the air with steady sound. Diep watched the garden, imagining tiny roots forming beneath the soil. James broke the silence, his voice low and steady. "I know this doesn't fix anything overnight." Diep didn't look at him, but she listened. "I'm not here to ask you to forget," he continued, "or forgive right away. I want to stay, if you'll let me, to do the small things right." She finally turned toward him. His expression wasn't hopeful or desperate, it was patient. That, more than anything, unsettled her. "I don't know what I can promise," Diep said honestly. James nodded. "I'm not asking for promises." They sat there for a long time after that. No dramatic confession, no emotional breakthrough, just shared space, steady breathing, and the quiet comfort of being present together. That night, Diep lay awake longer than usual. The house felt different with James there, fuller but not overwhelming. She listened to the distant sounds of the dog moving, James turning in his sleep in the other room. For the first time in a long while, her thoughts didn't spiral. They stayed grounded, anchored in the present. The next few days followed a gentle rhythm. Mornings in the garden, afternoons spent fixing small things around the house, evenings cooking and eating together. The dog became a constant companion, following Diep everywhere, curling up near James when he sat down. They talked more, laughed occasionally, and shared moments that felt real rather than forced. One afternoon, Diep noticed a small green sprout pushing through the soil. She crouched down, touching it lightly, a smile forming before she realized it. James saw it too. "Looks like it's growing," he said. She nodded. "Slowly." "That's okay," he replied. "Some things are better that way." Diep stood up, brushing dirt from her hands. She looked at James, really looked at him, noticing the way he waited, the way he never crossed the line she hadn't yet opened. Something inside her shifted, not certainty, not forgiveness, but a willingness to stay present. That evening, as they sat on the porch again, Diep reached out and placed her hand on the table between them. It wasn't a grand gesture, it wasn't a declaration, but it was closer than before. James noticed, his breath catching slightly, but he didn't move his hand. He let the moment exist on its own. The house glowed softly under the porch light. The garden rested quietly, holding its hidden promise. The dogs slept soundly at their feet. And in the space between Diep and James, something fragile yet real continued to grow. Not rushed, not demanded, but carefully tended, one small day at a time.
Đồng mía cao dần, 45 đồng trở thành hy vọng cho phiên chợ. Một cây mía đổ bất ngờ khiến cả nhóm kêu, rồi cười xòa vì kịp đỡ nhau. Chiều xuống, Linda buồn bã vì con rúi của mình đã biến mất. Nghi có kẻ trộm rình quanh nhà. CEO quang ghế đến lắng nghe và trấn an và tự sửa chiếc camera cũ trong kho, kéo dây lắp trước sân nhà để bảo vệ cô. Đêm đến, Linda nấu cơm nếp cẩm mời anh ở lại ăn. Hai người trò chuyện lòng ấm lại. Quang kể áp lực công ty, camera nháy sáng, bóng lạ thoáng qua, và không biết Linda có sống sót qua được đêm nay không. Mọi người nếu nếu thấy video hay, hãy cho mình một like, một subscribe. Cảm ơn mọi người nhé.